So should the Rockets trade Kevin Durant, or what should the Rockets do moving forward? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. I mean, you had KD last summer, a year ago, like a little bit over a year ago at this point, and
Yeah.
it looks like honestly a perfect kind of situation because you're not giving up a lot. You gave up, the 10th pick, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks.
No,
Wasn't a high ass. You needed someone to help you in the half court. You got to keep like all your main young pieces, Amen Thompson, Şengün.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, it was, I don't want to say like quite the perfect fit, but it was you're swapping out, your number one scorer for just a number one scorer who's better.
Yeah.
And you also have to give up Dylan Brooks, who, I mean, good role player, but at the time last year, I don't think anyone expected him to be a borderline all-star like he was this past year in Phoenix, right? So, I mean, KD, numbers-wise, he was fine. He was kind of just what he's always been throughout his career. 26 points, 5.5 boards, 5 assists. He made the All-Star game. Like,
he was second-team All-NBA, which is crazy.
God, he was a fucking migraine, though, in terms of a player. God damn. Like, you had the KD files mid-season, which is, like, that's bad enough. But, like, the Rockets' chemistry this whole season just seemed awful, and then he's not even really available for the playoffs, and you crash out in embarrassing fashion to the Lakers. Like, this is not the experience the Rockets signed up for when they brought him in.
Yeah, you literally win the exact same amount of games, 52, from the year prior, and they actually fell back, where they weren't a team with home court. They won less playoff games this year. And now, like, moving forward, he is literally, like, the odd man out. I mean, I guess you add Marcus Smart, so you have, like, another guy who's older in age, but Şengün will be 24 by the time the next season starts. Amen Thompson's 23.
Yeah.
Jabari Smith Jr. is 23 as well. He's locked up, on that big contract through 2031. Reed Shepherd is 22. Tari Eason also got a contract extension. He's 25. So you have all these guys who they're in their mid to early 20s. Like I said, you did add Marcus Smart, so you have another, veteran player. And I like that pickup a lot for them. But then you got KD, you do got Van Vliet, so he's coming back from injury. So first of all, before we get into potential trade packages, and it's looking a little bit barren out there. I'll say that off the bat. Like, do you think the Rockets should look to trade KD after this season?
Yes.
You do.
I mean,
definitively.
I was on this train when the season was still going on.
You were, and I was doubting it.
Look, it didn't work. You didn't have to send out much to get him, so it's not like you sold the farm on an asset that just didn't work. But you said it. He's the odd man out. He's 36. Is he going on 37 this year? He'll be 37 at some point this year. Yeah. So he's going to be 37 at one point this year. The rest of the team is young. Şengün's 23. Thompson's 23. Jabari Smith's 23. Reed Shepherd's 22. We just went over this, right? All these guys are young. Van Vliet's the only one who's really not, and outside of, a couple other vets that won't, matter a whole lot, right? Yeah. All the core pieces of this team are young. So realistically, if you're going to keep Durant, like, next year is probably your last year you can fully count on him. Yeah. Like, I know he might be able to play a little longer because he's Durant, his game has aged very gracefully. But what I've kept saying about, like, these older guys, trading for him is, like, after you turn like 36, like 37, it's really just like 1 year at a time. And like,
it really
anything beyond that is just a nice bonus, right? So unless you really think you can go for it this coming year with Durant, like, you got a young core, you still have, some first round assets, like, just get rid of him. Someone will take him on. You probably won't have to give up anything to ship him out. Like, just get rid of it. Go with the young guys, honestly.
Okay.
Like, you tried it and it didn't work. Time to move on.
I think that's fair. Let's talk about some potential trade packages. And these were hard as hell to cook up. Like, some of these, I'll say outright, the team getting KD, this is just hypothetical. They definitely would say no to this. And some of these,
always good when you start with a trade package where like the team getting Durant is just wants no part of this.
Yeah,
right?
That's mainly one of them we'll get to. That's the second one. But first one, the team that's most rumored for Durant at the moment is the Detroit Pistons. Apparently, KD has interest with playing with Cade. Now, from the Pistons' perspective, he is on the basketball court the best version of what they need, because they need a reliable scorer, a second option next to Cade. He could even necessarily be your like first option scoring wise. I see you're grinning ear to ear.
Because that's what the Rockets needed.
It is what the Rockets needed. That's a fair point. So the trade package is Pistons get KD, Rockets receive Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert, Ron Holland, and, maybe a first or two. What do you think about that from each side? Because again, you're kind of taking the same, thing the Rockets did, where it's like, we're not giving up much. It's not much of a risk. Now it might end up in the same situation. But,
I mean, you're giving up far less than the Rockets even gave up.
Yeah, you're giving up way less.
I mean, Ron Holland is decent, but LeVert is just a guy. Robinson, they might cut anyway.
Exactly,
so outside that 27 first, you're really giving up nothing. I mean, the idea of the Pistons doing this, I hate, because it just screams to me what the Rockets did. Like, I understand he fits, but he fit on the Rockets too, right?
Going to another Thompson brother.
Yeah. Well, obviously there's that. I mean, but it's a young team that's on the rise that just had their most success in like years and years and years.
Yeah.
And you bring in Durant, who I don't want to say he's torpedoed the last 3 teams he's played for, but none of them have gotten better really since he got there. That would not be the move I would go for if I was the Pistons. If I could get him for that package, maybe, because that's basically nothing. So, if it doesn't work again, you can cut bait, a year later and be like, well, we tried it. It didn't work. We gave up nothing to get him. We're going to be fine. But just the general idea, I understand the Pistons need a second, creator, ball handler next to Cade. Durant is not the guy I would go for.
I mean, I'm more open to this than you are. I think the problem with the Pistons that they run into is everyone seemingly in the East got better. Like,
yeah, it's true.
The Knicks are already there. I guess the Celtics, you could argue, got worse, but the
still
76ers got better. Heat got better. Magic, I think, will be better. Like, all these teams are kind of taking their spot, at least at the top.
Cavs could get LeBron.
Yeah, if the Cavs get LeBron. So I think the Pistons could be in a situation where it's not the worst opportunity, place to make a move like this, and maybe it works out. Like, you're really not giving up much. And again, said the same thing about the Rockets, and we saw how that worked out. We're talking about trading Durant already a year into it, but I'm pretty open to it. This is the trade. The Timberwolves aren't going to do this, but the money does technically work, and they've been rumored for Durant. Gobert Durant swap?
I mean, I would not even consider that if I was at that point. You've torpedoed all your front court depth. Because Randall's not there anymore. Reed's not there anymore. Gobert wouldn't be there. Who's playing center?
I don't know.
Is it Durant?
There definitely had to be more to this deal. And again, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I get the Wolves need a power forward, but they don't need a power forward at the expense of their center. That's too much,
Okay, we'll skip that. This one I think is more realistic, and I could see happening. What about like the Celtics getting KD and the Rockets get Paul George and then some future draft capital?
That's not the worst idea. I mean, if the Celtics, you're pushing all your chips into the KD pile, which I could see an argument for that, because I don't think this team is going anywhere to begin with Paul George the next couple years, unless they make a big deal where they flip his contract for another star in that draft capital. That window is shutting real quick. And maybe you can make an argument Durant helps you keep it open for at least 1 or 2 more seasons. When you have Tatum, you still have your draft capital forward. So if it doesn't work in 2 years, you could blow it up. You could get rid of Durant, probably be retired at that point, but you could trade Tatum, start over with a decent foundation. I don't hate it, but I would be a little nervous making it if I was the Celtics.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the Celtics actually like what they have in Paul George just because of his ability to play defense, where Durant isn't the same defender Paul George is. So
I guess not.
Yeah, I don't actually think they would make this move. I think it'd be interesting. But at that point, like, you're flipping Jaylen Brown for Durant. Maybe that's worth it, for a short period of time, especially if you don't want to be attached to Jaylen Brown's contract long term. Another team I've heard in the mix, as they've been in the mix for over a decade with Durant, is the Wizards, just because he's from there. But this doesn't really make sense because you'd have to basically move AD or Trey.
And the Rockets would be really dumb to take on that Trey contract.
Yeah.
And their best player right now is a power forward center. So
I think AD, if you could somehow swap AD for
Durant,
for KD 1-for-1, I think the Rockets, take that in a heartbeat. But
putting AD next to Sengun,
I think that actually works better than
it's all right.
AD likes playing the 4, and Sengun is not the best rim protector. So I actually think that kind of works. They can both shoot a little bit, so not terrible, but I don't see the Wizards making that. And then the last one we'll talk about here, and this is another team. I think if there's one team that could kind of come out of nowhere, you're not necessarily thinking about and make the move. Nuggets get KD, Rockets. This is kind of the tough sell. Is what do you package that the Rockets could get? Christian Brown. Yeah. Cam Johnson, 2 picks, maybe add in a third or a swap to make it happen.
I was going to say maybe strike off a first if I was the Nuggets. No. If I was the Nuggets.
The problem is the Christian Brown contract is bad. Is a negative asset. Cam Johnson, he's fine. But yeah, I mean, maybe 2 firsts is enough. And
what if we did a first and a pick swap?
Okay. I mean, if the Rockets are willing to do that, yeah, why not? From the Nuggets perspective, I think they're the best team suited to make KD work in their system and also have him, there's veterans galore in that locker room where I don't think the KD's fouls are dropping.
KD's not forced to be the leader of that team, right? Like he was kind of forced to be that for the Suns because Booker is not, a very verbal leader or anything like that. He was very much forced to be that for the Rockets, right? Mm-hmm. Because Van Vliet was hurt for the entire season. The leader in Denver is Jokic.
Yeah, and then even then it's Murray or
Gordon, Yeah, I mean, of all the trades, that's probably the one I like the most. I feel like is that the all-in move for the Nuggets, though? I mean,
I think it kind of makes you so you're like half in because we talked about, Gordon's being supposedly shot, Murray, and maybe that's not happening anymore now that the offseason's chilled out a little bit, but it lets you, I feel like it's a, medium risk, low risk, decent reward because Kevin Durant, he is coming off a season where he was second team All-NBA.
He is,
Part of that's because, the All-NBA rules are different.
Yeah.
You got to play a minimum amount of games, but KD's still very good. And, you pair him with Jokic.
He made the minimum games requirement as a 36-year-old.
Yeah,
so.
He can still be a bucket. I think that would work pretty well. And it would put the Nuggets back up there where, they've clearly taken a step back after that first round exit.
Yeah.
You add KD to that team without giving up one of the core pieces. That, I think, elevates them again to the top 4 in the West.
Of the options here, that would be my pick. I think that works well for the Rockets. I think it works well for the Nuggets. I think it works well for KD.
Yeah.
I kind of think it works well for all involved. Also because the Nuggets are kind of... I don't want to say they're old at this point, but Jokic is the wrong side of 30, right?
Yes.
Murray is close. I think he's in his late 20s.
30.
He's in his late 20s.
Gordon's over 30.
So you can kind of pitch this as this is the last gasp effort, maybe 2 years with Durant. By that point, Jokic is 33. Maybe he's signed his Supermax. And
there's talk about will he sign the extension next offseason. So maybe you got to sweeten it a little bit, have a good season.
Yeah, make sure, he believes in the team. I don't think he would ever leave Denver or anything, but could kind of be, your last hurrah with that core. Maybe throw in Durant. Again, he seems radioactive as a player at this point.
I guess that's true.
I mean, there was some Blazer fans, kicking around the idea.
I was going to mention at the end.
Obviously we've made the move for Ja, so we're off the table at this point, I would say.
Well, Drew, and so they could... They're not going to trade for KD. Let's make that clear. But they could.
Yeah, the Drew and Shaden money works, right? I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah, fuck that.
And I'm team trade Shaden at the first opportunity, right? And I wouldn't even do that because it's God damn, he is a walking atomic bomb at this point in terms of the negative effect he has had on the teams he's been on in recent times.
Yeah, I'd like to see him on a team like the Nuggets and see if it works out.
He needs to go to a team with veterans, right? Where he does not have to be the leader, where he can be a Golden State situation. He just turns up and plays hoops. The last 2 teams, he has tried to go to young up-and-coming teams in Phoenix and in Houston, and it has not worked.
Yeah, and I guess just to wrap this up, do you have belief in this Rockets core? Let's say that, they get rid of KD for a little bit, maybe get a future pick, because keep in mind they have some picks from the Suns. I think they might have 1 pick for the Nets. I could be wrong. I don't necessarily love their young core, but you have the picks. They're tough because
define belief. Belief to be a contender, championship contender, playoff team, team.
Can they get back to the optimism we saw 2 years ago where it looked like, it was the Thunder were obviously the top of the West. We knew the Spurs were coming, and then it was the Rockets. It's weird to think about now.
Yeah.
And they did win 52 games last year, so it's kind of crazy how negative we are on this team.
That's true,
they won 52 games, but again, the playoffs were so bad as well.
Weirdly enough, I feel like they get back to that optimism just if Amin Thompson develops a jump shot.
But that's never going to happen.
I know, that's the thing, though. So, aside from Amin, if he could learn how to shoot, then I think the optimism's sky high because then he's got superstar potential. Outside of that, though, this core just screams to me good, not great.
Yeah. I feel the same.
Like, if they just stuck with this core for the next 4 years, they'll average 47.5 wins with
make
that
the second round a couple
once,
times.
maybe twice, and then go out in probably 5 games to San Antonio or Oklahoma City. Like, it's a fine young core. It's decent. It can win games. It's not bad by any means, but it's never going to be a championship contender. And that's why they made the KD move in the first place.
Yeah,
because they looked at a team that had just made the second seed, was really young, and they felt like, we're good, but we're not that good, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't go harder for Giannis.
A little bit, yeah.
Last offseason, that was talked about. Like, could they go after Giannis? And they were because they had all the assets, they had all the young players to make it happen, and they didn't. They said, we'll go with KD. And I understand the decision at the time because it was just way lower of a cost you're putting up to get KD.
Obviously, yeah.
And then this offseason, like, I kind of, again, understand why they didn't go for him, because you had KD and obviously that didn't work out, so they're a little bit burnt by that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, hypothetically, they go for Giannis instead of KD. I think they're in a much better spot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Much better spot, yeah.
They're talked about as one of the contenders in the West, possibly, where now it's like, the fuck does this team do?
Yeah, again, that's kind of why I'm so hesitant on any of these teams trading for Durant, because it's like the last 2 teams he's been on have really taken step back since he got there. They've regretted it. Yeah. So what's to make me think that the third time is not going to be the same, right? I mean, I'm assuming whatever team makes the trade, they're gonna be like, oh, we can fix him. He's KD. Course. He's got all this skill, everything going for him. All-time score, everything. It looks really nice, but man, that's the thing about KD. He just never seems fully happy or bought in wherever he is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just his personality. Maybe that's just what he's like. I don't know. But he wanted the trade to Brooklyn. He wasn't fully happy in Brooklyn. He wanted the trade to Phoenix. He wasn't fully happy in Phoenix. He wanted the trade to the Rockets. He called his teammates the R word on a private, messaging thread on Twitter.
Now he wants to trade to the Pistons. Yeah. And people were saying, like, imagine the shit he'll be saying about Jalen Duran.
Yeah, oh my God.
A month into the season.
Yeah. Or fucking about Asar Thompson, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, this dude can't shoot. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. So what do you guys think? Should the Rockets trade KD? If you're a fan of one of these teams, would you want your team trading for KD? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our second channel here. We got more videos coming out about the NBA offseason and previewing some of the teams coming up for this upcoming season. And subscribe to the main channel. Link will be in the description.